Welcome back to Morning Joe. The story made headlines last winter. Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon announced from Davos his firm, one of the largest underwriters of initial public offerings in the world, would not take companies public in the United States and Europe if those companies did not have at least one diverse board director. Our next guest says this and other displays of so-called wokeness are all just part of a corporate scam. Joining us now, entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy. He is author of the new book, Woke Inc., Inside Corporate America's Social Justice Scam, which he says pulls back the veil on corporate America's push for altruism and diversity. Good morning. It's good to have you with us. I want to read a little of an essay for the New York Post that draws on an excerpt from your book. You write this: woke capitalism is really just crony capitalism 2.0. Here's how it works. Big business uses progressive-friendly values to deflect attention from their own monolithic pursuit of profit and power. When Amazon issues a public challenge to Walmart to pay workers $15 an hour, we can simply chuckle to ourselves that Jeff Bezos is just doing what he does best, undermining his competitors when they are most vulnerable. As a society, we should allow and even embrace the corporate pursuit of financial self-interest above all. The only thing we should ask in return is this: keep it naked instead of dressing it up as altruism. So this is so fascinating. I mean, this is, I guess, virtue signaling on a grand scale when you're talking about organizations. How do you make the distinction between, just trying to glom onto a movement in the pursuit of profits and good faith expressions of altruism, good faith expressions of we want to do the right thing, we want to move forward with the society?
Yeah, look, I think that we should mostly reserve our good faith expressions in our democracy as citizens, but I just don't think we can trust companies to ultimately express that in good faith, because the rule of 21st century capitalism, and I've seen this firsthand, by the way. I've had a career as an investor, I've had a career as an entrepreneur, I've grown up, I wasn't born to lead America, but I've been in it for the last 15 years. The way it works is you pretend like you care about something other than profit and power precisely to gain more of each. And it is a magic trick, but it's not just hypocrisy, Willie. I think it's actually wreaking havoc on American democracy, because what this new system says is that a small group of investors and CEOs get to exercise not just their power in the market for products, which I think is okay, but power in the marketplace of ideas. And I think that's fostering a crisis of institutional mistrust in our country.
And as you read in the book, it is selective in many cases. We were talking a minute ago about China and how companies that take a stand on things here in this country don't say a peep about China because of the massive market and the implications it may have on their sales there.
That's exactly right. Once corporations become vehicles for advancing a progressive agenda, they become vehicles for advancing any agenda. And nobody has mastered that game better than the CCP, because what they're able to do is to take Disney or Nike and have them criticize the United States, but don't say a word about China. In fact, many of these companies are starting to praise China despite over 1 million Uyghurs in concentration camps. And that allows Xi Jinping, when he's pressed by the UN or the EU about the Uyghur human rights crisis, to say that Black Lives Matter shows the United States is no better. And you don't have to listen to him now. You can just listen to these corporations as Trojan horses that are really undermining American interests from within.
Joe?
Well, so Vivek, I understand it's frustrating. I was very frustrated at Major League Baseball when they took the All-Star game out of Atlanta before they actually read the bill. Stacey Abrams, by the way, agrees with me. I also frustrated at other corporations by decisions they make. But the one thing that all these decisions have in common, and you really alluded to this, is it's about the bottom line. It's about making money. That's the way it's always been. I remember like 10 years ago watching a BP ad. BP had all these great ads and they'd have young people on and be like, I like flowers and the environment. And I'm sitting there going, man, these BP people are really cool. I want BP gas in my car. Of course, then we had the BP oil spill in my backyard off the coast of Pensacola. This is nothing new, right? I mean, it's about the bottom line. And let me just press you here. Don't they have a right? If they think sounding woke makes them more money, that's kind of their, even if it frustrates us, that's their right as a private company, right?
Joe, you're getting to the heart of it. Absolutely, it's their legal right. But what I'm pointing out in the book is, I think, a deeper cultural failure. And there's sometimes where the executives are pushing it onto people, but there's sometimes where the consumers are demanding it. I think that's part of your point, too. I think that is a symptom of a deeper cultural malaise in this country, where I'm a millennial, right? People my age and younger, we are hungry for a cause. We are hungry for purpose. I think we're hungry for identity, but I think mixing morality with consumerism is the wrong way to actually fulfill that hunger. It's the equivalent of fast food. We need to fill it with more substantial fare, the kinds of ideas of shared patriotism, shared faith, shared idealism that used to fill that moral vacuum. That's what we need. And the analogy I would make is it's like a bunch of Virginia Slims manufacturers really teasing a bunch of teenage girls with their insecurities in the 1990s. That is what corporations are doing to my generation, preying on our moral insecurities. And I think that we really need something more substantial to fill that vacuum at the center of our nation's soul and at the center of our nation's identity, rather than just filling it with mixing up morality with your sandwiches that you buy or the coffee that you buy. Because I think that's a really cheap, skin-deep way for corporations to make a profit, but it leaves us worse off as citizens in the end.
So if you're identifying this as a problem, what can be done as the solution? What is something that can be done, whether it's politically or as consumers? How would you actually go about changing this, would you say is an issue?
Well, I think some of the deepest ways to go about changing it starts with the culture. One of the things I talk about in the book is actually weaving civic service into primary education, because I think that satisfies that shared identity that everyone's hungry for, so you don't look at actually getting your ice cream at Ben & Jerry's with a cup of morality on the side. It doesn't work that way. And I think one of the things I talk about in the book is you can't just inherit this country. You have to play a role in building it. And our schools are one of the places where we can begin teaching them that. Now, I do talk a lot about some policy solutions and legal solutions as well that I think could even the playing field. I think one of the sources of institutional mistrust right now is that many people don't feel free to express their true beliefs in public, including in corporate America, for risk of losing their jobs. So I actually propose, controversially perhaps, that we should add political belief as a protected class right there next to race and sex and gender and sexual orientation as of last year. I think that could actually contribute to solving a problem where 60% of Americans now say they're afraid of expressing their true beliefs in public, including in the private sector. I think this could really restore our free speech culture. So I think it's a combination of policy solutions that are really symptomatic therapies, but deeper cultural solutions like the civic service idea that go to our actual cultural core.
We've just scratched the surface of the argument you make in this book. It's really interesting. Some people agree with some of it, disagree with others, but that's what a good book does. The new book is Woke Inc. Inside Corporate America's Social Justice Scam. Vivek Ramaswamy, thanks for being here this morning. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having us.
Really cool conversation. Mika?